I think there's a lot of clued up people in the comments right now. I've been reading your comments and I think we're pretty much on the same page. I don't really believe that he is just going to help with future humanitarian tours, and I'll get more into that in a bit. That really rang alarm bells. It's being said that he's going to be an ongoing consultant in some form. I suspect that definitely Archwell has been, as we know, wound up essentially and turned into a global philanthropy sort of organisation, which is just sort of, they're used for tax dodgers, really, and they can pretty much donate to whomever they want at any time in any way now. It's very different from running it as a foundation. So off to the UK he's going back, and I'm wondering whether this is restructuring of, not Archwell, I know that's pretty much done and dusted, but is it a restructuring of the brand yet again? And is it actually becoming more UK based? That's what I'm going to be looking at in this episode, and I've got lots of things to back it up. I was actually working on a program around this subject, and then the James Holt thing just came up this morning, and I thought, thank you so much. Missing piece of the puzzle. So I'll present what I have and I'll see what you think. So let's just have a look at the headlines and then we'll get into the nitty gritty that isn't in the headlines. So this was the Telegraph. Prince Harry and Meghan's closest aide quits. We all know that. Evidently he was getting £180,000 for his role at Archwell. Not small change, quite significant. I hope he's getting paid well as a consultant when he gets back to the UK. There was a rather amusing article from Guy Kelly in the Telegraph, and I did enjoy it, where he pretty much outlines everyone that has left, the 10 people, the 10 PR people prior to Meredith Maines, who was of course the 11th leaving their PR position. So that's worth a read if you subscribe to the Telegraph. I don't think it's behind a paywall, but I will link it in the description below when I finish this episode. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I love this line though. The Sussex's PR chalice appears radioactive to the touch. And he does make an interesting argument, and the argument is this: if all publicity is good publicity, why are so many PRs leaving? And apparently it's because to Harry and Meghan, all publicity is not good publicity. All publicity has to be positive. It has to be fawning. It has to put them up on a pedestal and exalt them for the wonderful humanitarian leaders that they are. That's what they want. Day in, day out, they want adoration. And if they don't get adoration, well, they get a bit poppy, because they live off it. Their egos need that constant fuel. And if they don't get it, they get angry at those that should be providing it. Okay, now we're going to get into what I was already working on. And I think it is relevant. I just want to make sure I get my notes so that I don't, embellish and get excited and add things that aren't factual. All right, so let's have a look at this. Now, we all know this old chestnut that was broken by the BBC about Prince Harry's security in UK being under review. Now, I know that a lot of these articles are just fluff and floss and put out by the Sussex team. I know a lot of them that we're supposed to think a certain way. It's interesting, though, that if you almost put it up on a detective board in a timeline and you look at all the clues we've had, you will understand that James Holt's move today was really, honestly, the last bit of the puzzle. So let's go. Healthy degree of skepticism when we look at these headlines and when we discuss it, but it does all start to fit a pattern. Okay, so bear with me and then you can let me know what you think. So Prince Harry's security in the UK under review. Now, a lot of people are of the opinion this is a whole lot of faff and that nothing will come of it and that they will find that he's under no more threat than he was originally and it will all go away. However, my interest is the fact that it was really a government initiated agreement to review his security, to put it under review. Now, contrary to a lot of what people say it's not a timeline thing, security reviews. I did look into this. It doesn't happen yearly. It doesn't happen 5 yearly. It has no time frame. It only happens when the intelligence around a principle changes. That is what usually triggers it. Or it can also be triggered, I guess we could say, by a whinging prince hammering certain members of the government with whinges and complaints and demands. Lobbying, in other words. Lobbying. If you're the king's son, maybe you can trigger something if you lobby hard enough. However, officially, RAVIC does not review, or the board that does the reviews that reports to RAVIC, I should be more accurate there, they do not trigger a review on any principle on any timeline. That's very important because a lot of people have dismissed it due to this timeline theory, and the timeline theory does not exist. It's not in, the auspices of the board that does the review. They don't do it. It's intelligence. Based on intelligence, on increased or decreased threat. Now, hopefully they'll find he's got decreased threat and he won't even get his 30-day. We'll just have to wait and see. This is going to be announced in January. Now, I wonder, and this is pure speculation, it's not based on any fact. My wondering is, James Holt heading back to the UK, whether that's because they already know the result of the security review. I just wonder that. Whether they've got the heads up before it officially gets announced and they're putting things in place. Because I had it on good authority, and I think most of us can see with our own eyes anyway, that Harry very much wants to be very much back in the UK for 2026. And part of the motivation of that is a lead up to the Invictus Games in Birmingham 2027. And I won't say that yet. Calm, Shauna. Don't get ahead of yourself. I've got a bit of juice. All right, here we go. Now, this was interesting. James Holt will remain as senior philanthropic advisor for the couple for Archwell Philanthropies. Don't think it needs much advice. I mean, it's no different to when, people knock on my door and say, will you donate to kids in need or for breast cancer or for heart disease? You just put your hand in your pocket and you pay it out. And that's pretty much what Archwell Philanthropies will be doing. They'll just be supporting existing initiatives, supporting their humanitarian trips overseas in 2026. Now, bingo! Bah, 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 warning sign. That should have neon lights around it. Let's read that last sentence. Supporting their humanitarian trips overseas in 2026. And there you have it, folks. We know now exactly what is going to happen. More pseudo-royal tours. I kid you not, more pseudo-royal tours. Now let's hark back and then see why they matter, okay? This is Nigeria. This is Harry inspecting the troops. All right. Now, why does this matter, Shauna? You're just being churlish, you're being bitchy, and you're going back over old news. No, I'm not, because it really will undermine the monarchy. It makes them look really a laughingstock in the world's eyes. It's pathetic. And this is what happened. And when Nigeria happened, that is when action should have been taken. That is when their titles should have been stripped. That is when they should have been put back firmly in their place. And the reason is, you can see here, this was a pseudo-royal tour. He was invited over there by the Nigerian Defence Force, again, Invictus being used as the excuse, to give Harry a royal persona. And no one in the palace other than an ambassador saying it has nothing to do with the palace. Oh, that was good. That was effective. That was strong. We'll all just, barely got a headline. Okay, so full motorcades in Nigeria, receptions in Nigeria, media coverage resembling pre-Megxit engagements. Very much so. And it wasn't just the fawning Sussex media either. It was the Royal Rota. Okay, the formal invitation, like I said, from the Nigerian Defence Force. Now, let's have a look at more pseudo-royal tours. And of course, who can forget these images? Princess Meghan. All right, Colombia. Now, that looks pretty official to me. If you look at this and look back, this looks really quite official, doesn't it? An official welcome. It reinforced their pattern yet again of international goodwill visits. And, it was in very similar style to an authentic royal tour. And as much as the Royal Rota called it a quasi-tour or a pseudo-tour or, refused to call it royal tour, which of course we all did, it didn't make any difference. The coverage was very much an official royal tour type thing. And then we have again, there was even an official working lunch. Look at that. Look at that. They look like, it was hilarious because the lunch, Harry was sat at the kids' table. Who can forget that? That was quite funny. But look at it. It looks rather official to me. And that's what we're going to get in 2026. And the reason why we're going to get it in 2026 is because the palace has allowed it all. I'm not saying they're behind it. I'm not saying they've organised it. I'm saying their lack of action yet again enables this silliness to continue. Another thing about the Colombia visit was it's very interesting about their appearance at the Digital Responsibility Forum. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it good that, his father, even though they have no communication and they have no relationship left, that they're just so on board with a lot of these initiatives. Just wonderful, quite political initiatives too, which was the point I made about the King's Christmas speech. I don't take anything on face value anymore. All I see is manipulation, gaslighting, and a softening up of the populace.